Welcome to Ghostly.
Is Franklin Castle haunted?
Ghostly is a podcast that now comes out every other week because last month we were weekly. In each episode, we take a ghost story or a paranormal event and look into its complete history. Rebecca then gives us evidence proving that the story is real, and my job is to debate those pieces of evidence and get you, the listener, prepared to vote on if it's real or not. If you haven't yet, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And as always, we're your host. I'm Pat.
And I'm Rebecca.
So before any kind of other business, I just want to remind everyone that we usually take December off. Last year, I don't think we did, but we will be taking December off, to be with our families and stuff. Although, it is a great time for telling ghost stories. So you should be telling ghost stories to your family.
Well, I think we did take December off. I can't remember, but I think, we know some of you might need to catch up on episodes, so we hope you do that.
So you're probably listening to this in like March.
Well, but just to point out that before we let you go for the month, we've got today's episode, which is going to be great. And then we have an even, I don't know if I'm going to say more spooky because today could be spooky, but
I think this is a cool episode.
This is a cool episode.
I think that the next one, the one we're going to leave you with, is very spooky.
You're going to need a month to recover.
Yeah, right.
I think from our next episode. So
and we have a special guest coming on that we are not going to talk about in this particular episode. No. You're just going to have to tune in for the next one.
Yeah. But stay till the end. We'll tell you the name of the episode. So you'll be ready to come back.
Absolutely. So I wanted to talk a little bit about Franklin Castle to start off with. It's shrouded in a bunch of legend, right?
Yes.
There's definitely legend. Some just are crazy, preposterous, right? It's like some of them are just so bizarre. It's like, no way. It's also known as the Tiedemann House. And it's a Gothic revival mansion, and it's in Cleveland's Ohio City.
Yes.
I had never heard of Ohio City.
I had not either.
But now we have. So we've done our first Ohio City episode now.
There you go. And it's on the list of, some of the most haunted houses in the U.S. We've done a lot of them, but this is one that we hadn't done yet. So
yeah, well, when we did the most haunted, we found that they weren't very haunted. We did a lot of episodes. We did a whole series of most haunted, and nobody really thought they were haunted. So I
think that's your memory of that situation.
It is.
My memory is a little different.
Yeah.
But
my memory still says that Amityville was debunked. So, but we're super excited to explore the dark secrets that lay in this castle, right? Yes. Any kind of American castle. I love that concept.
Exactly.
We're going to talk about a lot of things that I really love in buildings and stuff too in this episode.
Good.
So this is typically the time we would do a shout out. There are two ways to get a shout out on Ghostly. The first way is to give us a review on Apple Podcast. We always prefer those 5-star reviews, but we will read any and all reviews that we receive. The second way is to become a member on Patreon. By the way, if there's anything that you ever want to see on Patreon that you don't see there, just let us know. I'd be happy to add that. December is usually our time to look over Patreon and see what more can we offer.
We want to try to plan ahead for next year. So if you've got ideas of ways that we can help you out,
give you extra,
give you more.
Yeah.
We're definitely excited to do that. We have some exciting things that we're already working on for next year.
Absolutely.
And I can't wait. So definitely check it out. We love your support. We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
This is also a time where we love to read listener mail. We don't have a new one for today.
And we don't have any shout outs too. So it's just one of those, crazy times.
It's okay. We just, we don't need to linger, but we just want to let you know that you can get a shout out.
Wait, do you have to make it linger? Do you have to?
No, I don't. But for listener mail, we love to hear your ghost stories. So creepy things that have happened to you. It doesn't need to be anything extreme.
But it could be.
Or it could just be something creepy that happened to you, but then you found out that it wasn't anything, right? We go both ways.
Yeah. Or, if you've heard like a really spooky story that you just want us to maybe maybe talk about in the opening of this that isn't long enough for an episode. We can spend 5 minutes talking about something.
Absolutely. We'd love to hear about the creepy house in your neighborhood.
Yeah.
Whatever you got.
Absolutely. So you can email us at info@ghostlypodcast.com or use the contact us form right on ghostlypodcast.com.
And one of our favorite ways to get ghost stories or just, anything from you guys is in the actual mail. So you can send it to us at P.O. Box number 264, Geneva, Illinois, 60134. And of course, you're not going to remember any of those things. So go to ghostlypodcast.com, go to the bottom of the page, and you'll get all of that information. You can also DM us on Instagram, Facebook, any of
Slide
those
into our
social
DMs, might as well.
Yes.
I will say that we do try to check our actual mailbox once a month or so.
Yeah.
So if we don't get it right away, I apologize. Maybe shoot us a message too, telling us, hey, expect this coming. So we know to go there.
All right. We do usually do polls right now, but we've got a lot of polls to get through because we've had, we kind of gave you guys
polls.
the month. Yeah, we gave you guys the month to vote. So so stick around at the end of the episode, and that's when we'll get to the polls.
Absolutely. So those that don't need it don't need to listen to it.
Yeah.
Like the skeptics, it's all zero to them. No, I'm just kidding.
I think it's important.
You want to see if you won, if your side won.
That's what I'm saying.
And they can go to ghostlypodcast.com, click on polls to vote on this poll. Tell us if you think Franklin Castle is haunted after you listen to this.
Absolutely.
It's a great way to just interact and have a little fun.
Get your voice heard.
Yes.
All right. Hopefully everyone's, okay to keep. We just keep voting. The voting for us doesn't end.
No, never ending.
All right. I do have a ghost story.
Okay.
All right.
It's time for a spooky tale from our bad girl.
I shivered as I climbed the spiral staircase to the 3rd floor, the boards creaking beneath my feet. My children's laughter echoed from downstairs, but it did little to banish the creeping chill that seemed to cling to my skin. I'd been warned about this place, rumors of crying girls and footsteps that followed you in empty halls, but I didn't listen to them. The house was beautiful, full of history. And it feels like a new beginning. But tonight was different. I paused outside an old oak door at the end of the corridor. It was colder here, unnaturally so. I reached out, and as my fingers brushed the brass handle, a sob drifted from within, soft and mournful. A girl's voice. "Emma?" I whispered. The sound of footsteps echoed behind me, but when I spun around, the hallway was empty. Heart pounding, I pushed the door open. The room was empty, save for an old rocking chair that moved slowly, back and forth, as if pushed by unseen hands. A glint of white fabric caught my eye, a little dress folded neatly on the windowsill, the moonlight giving it an eerie glow. Suddenly, organ music floated through the house, deep and resonant. My blood turned cold. We do not have an organ. "Mommy?" My youngest son's voice called from below, breaking the spell. I backed out of the room, my eyes never leaving the rocking chair. It creaked to a stop, and silence settled over the house once more. Downstairs, my children stared up at me wide-eyed. "Who were you talking to?" my daughter asked. I glanced back up the staircase, now cloaked in darkness. I didn't have an answer.
Wow. Okay, so I always have to ask this. How much of this is real?
So this is based on something that one of the owners of the house claimed to experience.
Okay.
So obviously a story version of it, but yeah.
For those curious of why I ask is because I don't want people to base their votes on, things that are completely made up. So you are basing this on fact. And also, too, we had one particular thing where we said the ghost story, and it was made up. This one was. And one of the family members of the people involved in it actually emailed us and asked if that was real.
Oh yeah, or someone that was doing research on it or something.
No, it was a family member. It was like a grandchild of the person.
Oh yeah, and they were like, "Oh yeah, where did you learn that story?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, it was in my head."
Exactly. So I have to ask that just for those that like the inside baseball talk, a little bit.
Yeah, but usually I try to base it on a claim. And, obviously I make it a story, but it is based on a claim. So we can see it in our minds.
Okay. All right. We're going to take a short break. And as always, we're going to return with the Pat Facts.
Pat's Facts. From a skeptic point of view. Pat's Facts. He presents it all to you. Pat's Facts.
All right, we are back. Let's just get into the Pat Facts.
Pat Facts.
So as I said, there is going to be a lot about this that I really love because I love castles. I have always been fascinated with castles. I remember going over to the United Kingdom, and I was on a tour, and there's so many castles there. When you saw ruins of it, instead of yelling out, "There's a castle," we would say ABC, another bloody castle.
Gotcha.
So that was our way of saying it. We would just yell out ABC.
Was this a little bit more than the airports, history-wise?
Oh, as far as like this particular thing, as far as this building, I don't. I mean, it's close. It's close to it.
All right.
But I actually really enjoyed this. I enjoyed that too. I enjoy finding out things. So, but the renowned Cuttle and Richardson firm, I love that there's a firm with Cuttle, built this American Queen Anne style masterpiece between 1881 and 1883 for the prosperous German immigrant Hans Tiedemann. On January 15th, 1881, disaster struck the Tiedemann family as their 15-year-old daughter died from complications associated with diabetes. And most people with diabetes died pretty early back then.
Well, and especially we're talking about type 1 diabetes.
Yeah, I'm assuming.
There was no insulin, I don't think, at that point.
Yeah. But then, not long after, this location saw its second death when Tiedemann's elderly mother died. And if that was not enough for the Tiedemans, they ended up bearing 3 more children in the next 3 years. Sounds kind of sus, right?
I mean, just a little.
I mean, and people were talking around that time too. They thought it was sus too, but they couldn't prove anything. The Franklin Castle then began extensive construction as a distraction to Mrs. Tiedemann. When you add on to your house, the first thing that you add, obviously, is a ballroom.
Oh, I mean, of course. It doesn't. I mean, everyone needs one, and if you don't have one,
you're like mocked
first
by society.
On the list.
Yeah,
yes,
absolutely. This one runs the entire length of the 4th floor, so there's 4 floors at least. Yeah,
come over for a dance.
Yeah,
and then come up to the 4th floor.
Well, I always find it funny whenever there is like a ballroom, it's always like on the upper levels of the house.
I mean, I guess if you had it open where you could like see the stars, the idea of that, it's like a beautiful. But I
wouldn't want all these strangers that are going to the ballroom to be all over my house to get there. It's like, wouldn't you want that on the 1st floor if you're going to use it?
I would think.
I don't know. Anyways, but the next home improvement is to add gargoyles and turrets to your house. To make it look even more like a castle.
Of course.
One of my favorite parts of these kind of house, castle-ish kind of things is hidden passageways. I think every house should have one. I mean, they're just really cool. They were rumored to have been they were rumored to have secret rooms and secret passageways in this house, and that it was used during the Prohibition period.
I saw something that was like, that it was like behind a hidden wall or something. Like, it wasn't easy to see, right?
Well, I mean, when I say rumored, I mean that they were just talked about. These rooms and passages never have been discovered. Except for a hidden staircase that was used for, your servants. That's because your servants can't walk up and down your regular staircase.
Oh, of course.
Especially if you're going to the ballroom.
Right.
They don't want to be seen there.
Right. Okay.
So, yeah. So death is kind of a signature thing in this house or castle. Mrs. Tiedemann did die of liver disease on March 24th, 1895 at the age of 57. The following year, Hans sold the house to the Mulhauser family, and by 1908, he and the entire Tiedemann family were dead.
Okay.
Leaving no one to inherit his considerable personal wealth.
Oh, wow.
So then it goes to the state, I believe.
Oh, okay. But he sold it, though.
Yeah, but he had a bunch of wealth when he died.
Oh, the wealth of... Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah.
Yes, that makes sense. Okay.
From 1921 to 1968, the house was home to various German and cultural organizations.
Uh-huh.
Human bones were found in a closet in 1975. I don't know if you talk about this in your particular...
I didn't.
Okay.
But I'm glad you're mentioning them.
But it's believed that they were planted by the new owner of the house to gain popularity for his ghost tours of the property.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of looks bad. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, if people, it seems like maybe there is evidence that they were planted, but that doesn't mean that there aren't ghosts, because he did not come up with the ghost stories. The family before him were the ones in the 60s that experienced things.
Oh, okay.
So I think
when you talk about 60s and experience, that usually means something else. like Jimi Hendrix said, "Are you experienced?"
Well, and then did you read more about the German groups that were at the house as well?
I mean, a little bit, but do tell.
I mean, we'll just say, so 21 to 68, that incorporates World War II.
Yeah.
And so there's definitely some rumors that they were supportive of Nazi causes. So, a lot going on at this house.
So the house is tainted, you're saying?
This is what I'm saying. Lots of death, lots of Nazis.
Yeah.
I don't know if lots of Nazis, but something.
In 1982, the location was added to the National Register of Historic Places. I always love to include that because that is a major accomplishment. Yeah, because that means they can't demolish the house.
Yes.
Easily.
Right.
In early 1984, Michael DeVinco, which was Judy Garland's fifth and last husband.
I love everything about this.
He purchased Franklin Castle and almost immediately started renovating the house. Over the next 10 years, DeVinco spent close to $1 million renovating the castle, even tracking down some of its original furnishings. Now, I want you to remember this. He spent $1 million. But after 10 years of renovation, DeVinco put the house up for sale. There's been a series of owners in the past 30 years.
No one stays long.
No. The castle was empty from 1994 until 1999, and Michelle Heimberg bought the castle and carriage house for $350,000.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. She was using part of her Yahoo stock windfall.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, you have to have Yahoo money in order to afford this house. But how did he spend $1 million renovating this house? And then 10 years later, it goes for $350,000.
Wow.
Anyways, she was one of the company's early Yahoo employees.
Oh, okay.
So a native Clevelander, Heimberg, was fascinated with the home and purchased it to restore the building to its former glory. Unfortunately, that same year, a fire badly damaged the castle. Though extensive repairs were done, the house restoration could not be completed.
Well, I guess it's good she didn't buy it for more than $1 million.
I guess so, yeah. In 2004, there were rumors that Franklin Castle would be completely renovated and turned into Franklin Castle Club. The property was damaged again, though, in March of 2011 when the carriage house was destroyed in a fire. I always, want a house that has a carriage house attached to it,
Yes.
In July of 2011, it was announced that the Franklin Castle had been rezoned to become a 3-family dwelling and that a sale was pending on March 18th. So I don't think that actually happened.
No, it didn't.
On March 18th, 2016, the reality TV series Paranormal Lockdown featured the Franklin Castle in the 3rd episode of its very first season.
I probably watched that. I remember liking that show.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Okay. On March 5th, 2020, Franklin Castle was featured on the 2nd episode of season 23 of our favorite, Ghost Adventurers, which aired on the Travel Channel. Travel Channel, we have nothing against you.
No.
In fact, if you'd like to do a ghostly show,
There you go.
come at us. On November 19th, 2020, Franklin Castle was featured in an episode 4 of season 2 of the Holzer Files, which aired on the Travel Channel again.
Yes.
So Travel Channel is where you go to find all of your ghostly stuff. So ghostly should be on there, I'm thinking.
I mean, of course.
Do you have anything to add to this glorious history of this magnificent 350,000? Actually, it sold for 260,000 after that. So,
well, here's the thing. So it is back open now. It was purchased by kind of like a theater-ish kind of, as Europeans.
oh, okay.
And
Germans? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know if they were German. They just say Europeans. And I haven't seen too many recent articles, some articles from a few years ago. But when you go to the website for it, they have, different like plays and different tours.
Maybe in the ballroom.
There is a whole thing for the ballroom.
Yeah.
And there's different shows. You can spend the night and get a tour as part of
and
it.
if you guys want us to spend the night at this place, just go ahead and throw a couple bucks
There
our
you
way
go.
so we can afford it, and then we would gladly do that.
Definitely. So it's kind of interesting. Their website, I have to say, it's very cool.
Yeah?
I haven't really seen a cool website like that in a while.
Wow.
Yeah.
I saw one, ghostlypodcast.com. That one is really
of course.
cool.
No, nothing is as cool as that. But yeah, so it is definitely a thriving building now, it seems. And you can go visit. It's interesting because some articles you read will say it's privately owned and you can't go in. But I think those are from some years ago.
Yeah.
I think now it is a place that you can go.
Yeah.
So
you just have to go to an event there.
yeah, exactly.
And they have a lot of paranormal events and stuff, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So that is the history of the Franklin Castle. I think this place is extra cool because of, all of its grandeur. It's that is a castle.
Yeah, it really is. It looks really interesting, and definitely not something we see, especially in the Midwest.
Yeah, we
A
don't
whole lot.
we don't have a lot of castles in Chicagoland area. The couple that we have are not 4 floors though, too. So
No. Yeah.
that's pretty big.
That's pretty big.
That's like Rocky Horror Picture Show castle.
Yes,
big,
there it is. There it is.
Anyways, we are going to take another quick break, and when we return, we are going to get to the debate. right, Rebecca, are you ready for a debate?
Let's do it.
Okay.
All right. So we're going to start with my ghost story.
Okay.
Right. So as I said, the hauntings allegedly started pretty much right when the house changed hands in the 1960s.
Okay.
Before that, yes, there were a lot of weird rumors about Tiedemann. I didn't want to go too much into it because it really isn't clear how much of that is true or
If
slander.
he was a murderer, or,
right?
Like
I don't want to like even some of the ghost hunters that I watched don't believe the evil things about him. Cursed house with a lot of death, yes.
Of course.
But
you don't
not,
believe the logical one. You believe the illogical one. Okay, yeah, I get it.
No. Well, they don't believe the thing of like, he tortured kids and murdered babies and just all sorts of
Yeah.
there's some really insane heinous things that we're not diving into because I couldn't find zero evidence of that, and I don't want to go into that. But
I don't think we need to. I mean, I think it's enough just to mention that there's been rumors about that.
Right. And if you want to go read them, you can.
Especially, it is very sus that all these people died when he was there.
Yes.
But anyways.
We can leave it at that.
Yeah.
Right. So the hauntings allegedly began soon after the people bought it in the 1960s. The family that lived there from 1968 to 1974 recounted several chilling stories. These are the Romanos.
Mm-hmm.
The children reported seeing a crying girl in white.
Girl in white. We have a girl in white. Isn't it enough that we have a woman in white? Now we have a girl in white. Are we going to have a family in white at some point?
A family in white?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. Okay. Let's hope not.
Okay.
But when their mom came to investigate, the room was empty and there was nobody there.
Okay.
So.
Well, what's interesting to me is that it all starts with this family, as far as the legends of the hauntings, of course, there were a lot of speculation about the Tiedemans, but they didn't say anything about them being ghosts before this.
No, and this was after then the Germans had owned it.
Yeah.
For whatever that's worth.
But that was still, 15, 20 years after the Germans owned it too. So, I just think that the timing is very convenient, especially that the next person that owns the house does it for paranormal investigation. So I'm gonna have to go 0 on this one. It's just, I just think that there is hintings of something else going on, like that people are either overly sensitive or not telling the truth. I can't exactly tell you which one though.
For me, I think there's a couple possibilities. It could be that we just didn't really hear a lot of the stories. Before that, people just moved, right? Because there's a lot of people moving in and out. It could also be that this family brought with them an energy that woke up some things that were there.
So then is the castle itself haunted or is the Romano family haunted?
I think my guess is...
I knew a Romano, by the way.
Oh.
Yeah.
I used to watch them on TV.
Oh, okay. There's Romanos on
Ray
TV.
Romano.
Oh, no. I went to school with a Romano.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Yeah.
There you go. But no, I think sometimes the house maybe has some paranormal energy to it, but then certain people believe it, they feed into it, and then it grows.
Okay.
So I think that's possible. And these, some of these things about seeing a crying girl in white do continue today.
Okay.
So I don't know. For me, I'm going to give this one a 6.
Okay.
How about for you?
0.
0.
Yeah.
All right. The next is continuing on with the Romano family. They also heard organ music and footsteps.
Okay.
Those are and the footsteps again are another one of those that people still hear today, along with the music. A paranormal investigator, William Crikey. I'm sorry, I don't pronounce that well. Crikey. That's probably makes much more sense. Who wrote a book called Haunted Franklin Castle. Says that he hasn't had anything crazy paranormal happen to him there, but he will definitely hear the footsteps
And the organ?
And and the organ. And he's like, but no one else is there. So there you go.
Interesting. Well, I would love to check out this organ that they
There is
don't
no
have
organ.
an organ.
No.
Okay.
That's what's weird.
Then maybe there's something that's causing that music to be heard. Maybe it's something that mimics that, or maybe it is like a recording or something like that.
Yeah, I could see that there could be a house sound. That somehow
makes you think that, and also the footsteps make me think it could be the house settling. I mean, this is an older house. It really is. It's over 100 years old, 130 something years old, 40 something years old. I think it could be the house settling. I think it could be creaks from maybe the way the house was constructed too. I've never been here, so this is one time that I would say, I would probably have a better understanding if I was there and I can see what kind of material was used. So I'm going to go 1 on this one because actually, you know what? I'm going to bump it up to 2 because I want to give them some benefit of the doubt. But it's just not enough for me to say ghost for sure,
Sure. Yeah, I'm not, again, the organ music, I'm not sure because I can't think of what would generate that. Like ghost wise, but footsteps, definitely. That seems to be like one of the most common.
Well, sometimes when the wind hits like a window, it can make like a higher pitched sound, and that might give you, especially if you're on the 4th floor, and this is coming from the ground floor, and you hear it like up the stairs or something. It could give that kind of. I would just have to hear it in there in order to be able to say what it was. Yeah. So.
I'll give this one a 7.
Well, you got a 2 out of me, so that's, that's pretty good.
Yeah. Okay. Some other paranormal things.
All right, other stuff. Oh.
Other stuff. Chandeliers spinning.
Okay.
Lights turning on and off. And doors opening and closing on their own.
Okay.
I know it's a lot of things, so we'll stop. Let's just stop with that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you would think that if this happened often, that people would, and especially since they do paranormal tours there, that there would be some kind of video of this. So
there's not video, but they do give guests a journal.
Okay.
In their room to record things that happen. Okay. And so that's kind of where we get.
Like a paper journal?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And that's where you're getting this.
Right.
But there's nothing saying that. I mean, it's like, you would think that if this happened enough that they would want to document this in some kind of video, though. It's like, why not? Unless there's something that's causing this to happen.
Yeah, I don't know how much they let they let people do video in there again for a long time. It's only just recently started to open for this stuff, so
no, because in the 70s, they were already doing paranormal stuff.
Oh, that's true. That guy was, but back then it wasn't like you had a phone. You can just
but I'm just saying, there's like, why wouldn't they allow some kind of video or something like that? It's like that is the question there. Why aren't they allowing these things? So that makes me believe. Yeah. Well, I'm sorry you don't know. That makes this highly, highly suspicious. It's under suspicion. I'm going to go 0.
I am also sure that if you saw a video of a chandelier spinning, of lights turning on and off, or doors opening and closing, you would just chalk it up to various other reasons. That's
not fair because, I mean, if you give me enough evidence, I might have to then say, okay, that seems really suspicious then to me, and I would have to give it a higher score.
Okay.
But this score is 0.
Okay. I will give this one a 6.
Okay.
All right. Then we're going to talk specifically about the 2 most common and compelling apparitions.
Okay.
So we talked about the girl in white.
Yeah, we did.
Who is believed to be Emma, which is the daughter of Tiedemann. But the other one is the lady in black, who is thought to be her mother, Louise.
It was Louisa, actually.
Louisa, sorry.
Yeah.
And this is probably the most common sighting. She has often been seen staring out the window from the turret room window.
Okay.
So that's there's one more thing with her, but that's where they see her, is in the window.
Is there any pictures that I'm not seeing or anything like that?
Not that I found.
Okay. And is this like, how many times did this come up?
Again, just the reports that she's often been seen up there.
Okay. Because I wonder, if it's often. So what can happen sometimes is somebody says, hey, there's this woman up there, but it's only one report. And then other people are reporting on that report. Mm-hmm. So then it seems like there's 20 reports that there's this woman, but whereas there's only been one, and it might not have been what you think it was. So I don't know. It just seems, again, highly suspicious that this place does paranormal tours. There's never been anyone outside where they cannot, say you can't use your phone to take pictures. Nobody's ever captured this.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard because there's like, chances are, especially for, you're supposed to see something in a window. Like, are you ready to take that picture?
I don't know, but in 50 years of them doing some kind of paranormal stuff, there's never been one.
Well, there is one that's out there, but to me, like, it's more of like an impression of a human figure. They're not dressed in black.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
I was a little like, yeah.
That's another thing too. I mean, you're at least 4 floors away from it. So you're looking up. Who knows? This house could be 5, 6 floors. We just know that the ballroom is on the 4th floor. It could be something that's by that window that's making people think that. Especially given that there's already the planted seed that this is a haunted house.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to go 0 on this one.
Well, and to be honest with you, I'm going to give this one a 4.
Okay.
Because I read one thing where this woman was like, people were talking about, seeing things or whatever. Because, again, there are people that will go online and say like, oh, I saw her, whatever. And then the woman said, well, I had a friend who worked there in like the 80s or some time period where they were doing renovations, whenever it was, or the 90s. And she said, if you saw somebody in the window, it might have been my friend, working. You know what I mean? So like, it could be just people working in there.
That her friend liked to go there renovating in all black.
Yeah. So like, the idea being like, in your mind, you're like, no one lives there.
Yeah.
Right. Because no one does live there, but there are people doing like work there, and maybe it's not all like along, a whole team.
There's been people. Yeah.
Whatever. I do, there is a picture with kind of like an orby streak, but I know, again, that's not really like, it's not a woman in black.
What are your thoughts
of
orbs?
Yeah, so of orbs?
Yeah.
Oh, it depends on the orb, honestly. Like, and I prefer video for orbs.
Yeah.
When it's just a photo, that's hard for me because I feel like, I've heard enough photographers say there could,
video
be something.
And photography are done with the same device.
I know,
often.
But when you see a video of an orb, there are times where it moves in a way that feels like, yep, that's just like a light source or like a whatever. And then there's other times when those orbs are moving in really weird ways that seem very different.
So, I mean...
So those are the times when I'm a little bit on the orb side.
My thoughts about orbs, even people that believe in ghosts, if they know about cameras and they know about what the processes are, the f-stops, I don't even know what some of the terminology is, but if you know about some of those things, it can clearly be duplicated. And a lot of people do that for art. Like they will make the sun flare, look. That's art, and they do that on purpose. This can be purposely done sometimes too. I'm not saying that people do. I'm saying it's usually accidental, but if it can be purposely done, it can be accidentally done too.
Yeah, like I said, it's just there's certain videos that I think are a little different, and that are associated with other things that are happening right at that moment.
Okay. Well, 0 for this one.
Yeah, and I said 4 for me.
Okay.
Okay, last one. Still going with Louisa.
Okay.
Supposedly, her room, her former bedroom, is known as the cold room.
Okay.
Because temperatures can drop up to 15 degrees in this room.
In that room.
Yep.
Okay. Well, it could be something to do with the construction of the room. Also, it could be so many different things. It could be what type of flooring that they use, what type of paint color that they used, what type of paint type did they use, what kind of lighting is in the room. 15 degrees seems like it's a lot, but you can create rooms that are colder. I mean, they do that sometimes in like Arizona and stuff like that they make the house be, purposely colder without having the AC on.
Yeah, I mean, I think the big thing is 15 degrees is a significant number, and also that it isn't consistently colder. It's only colder sometimes.
It could have to do with the position of the sun. It could have to do with the wind. It could have to do with a lot of different factors that it's like there's so many different things that this could be that I would put ghost last. It's like I don't get why people would instantly jump to, oh, well, that's a ghost then if the room is cold. I would look for every other possibility. Maybe there's no insulation in that room. Maybe the insulation has been eaten away. Maybe there's a whole bunch of different things. It's got to be 0 for this one for me.
I'm going to give this one a 7.
Okay.
Yes.
Because you like cold rooms.
Well, because again, it's a place, where, I mean, like this is the woman who did a lot of the renovating. Why would, I'm sure she would insulate her room.
I don't know if she did the renovating though, or if she was just, she was distracted by the renovations of the house. So I think the husband continued the renovations.
Gotcha.
Maybe they didn't get to her room yet.
And that's why makes it cold. I got it. Okay. It. Totally.
All right. So what would be your overall rating then?
All right. So I'm going to go 6 because I had some 7s.
You had
some
a 4.
4.
Too,
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to go 1 on this one because I gave a 2.
There you go.
And I gave all 0s except for that 2. So that averages out to me. That brings us to the closing arguments. This is our last chance to convince you, the listener, to vote our way. We are each given 1 minute of uninterrupted time. Rebecca, remember that it's uninterrupted, okay? So you don't stop me in the middle again. No, I'm just kidding.
Sometimes.
We will time each other on our cell phones to keep each other honest. I know we have not been doing that because we've been doing it over Zoom.
Yeah.
I feel so happy that we are back to our recording studio here.
Yes, we appreciate you sticking with us with the Zoom. It's nice to have.
Some of that audio is horrible.
We love having guests because it really adds a lot to the show, but then sometimes they're not able to always come to where we record.
Yeah, well, that means that we can begin. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right, let's do this.
All right. So Franklin Castle is haunted. It's been around a long time. I don't say cursed because, I'm not sure, but there was a lot of death that happened, especially in the beginning. And then some kind of bad people were using it. And we don't really know what kind of things they did there, or talked about, what kind of energy they brought. And then as the time went on, it kind of went through a lot of different people coming and going and not really staying there. And maybe not all of them reported on these hauntings, but finally someone did. And sure, the next buyer was someone who bought it because, hey, it's paranormal and maybe I can make some money on it. But that doesn't mean that he made the paranormal, right? And, yes, with the skeleton, he was trying to push it up. But, it's haunted.
Okay.
I had to kind of cut it off there.
You actually went over by a second, but that's okay. That's all right. Okay, I am ready.
Okay, and go.
So Rebecca brings up the fact that there were these bad people that lived there. That's all assumed, by the way. No proven evidence saying that they were. The person that bought the house to do paranormal tours did bring in something to get publicity for that. I'm just saying that there is too many things pointing to that this is a farce. This is a false acclamation. This is nothing. Done. Whoa. Okay.
Nothing.
It's nothing. Okay. I want to thank everyone so much for listening. Please share us with your friends and family, as word of mouth is our best advertisement. Remember to hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so yet, especially since, we're going to be taking December off. You want to make sure in January you find out when the episodes are coming out.
We always got to have some good January episodes.
Absolutely.
So.
We usually try to plan some really good ones right away when we come back.
Absolutely.
I would like to give a shout out to our VIP producers, Andrew,
Alicia,
Becky,
Cindy,
Kevin,
Jessica,
Alice,
Aaron,
Hope,
and Candy.
And on the next episode, so this is what we're going to be talking about.
Here it is.
We are going to be discussing the Tiedemann House of Gary, where there was an exorcism done. Now, Bob After Dark has done an episode on that, which I definitely recommend that you guys listen to.
Yes.
Also, our friend Zach Baggins did do a documentary of it, which I don't know if I recommend that because I have not seen it yet. But there's also a movie on Netflix. It's called Deliverance, I believe.
Yes.
Which, isn't that the movie with...
Yes, it is. So I don't know. But
anyways, so we're really excited about this. And Bob had the actual priest on the show that performed the rites. We are not going that direction because others have already. And if you want to hear that, Bob's a great place to listen. We highly recommend it. Mm-hmm. But we have somebody else that has performed exorcists.
Yes.
And we would like to bring this person in.
Yes.
Not gonna genderfy this person.
No, but this person has knowledge, and not necessarily of this particular one, but of them in general, and is absolutely going to give us a really good perspective.
Yeah.
I believe.
All right. So you waited this long just to hear about the polls. And although I hate giving polls, since you waited patiently, we will definitely do that. So take it away, Rebecca.
All right. So we are going to go back actually to the episode to September, which seems really far away now.
Last September episode, which was one of my favorites of all time because it had Mark on it. Mark is my kidney donor. So if you have not listened to that episode, that is a really special, long episode for me.
It was very good, super creepy. We were in Alton, Illinois, one of the most haunted.
We were not in Alton, but we talked about Alton.
We visited there in our minds.
Yes.
Talking about the Confederate prison and cemetery.
Yes.
And we had 76%.
Yeah, that was a tough one. And you know what?
24.
I'm going to give that one to Mark. Mark did an amazing job preparing for this episode, although there was no smoking gun, and he has said that.
Yes.
That there was no smoking gun, but I think that his enthusiasm for it really, really touched our listeners and got them to come out and vote. We had a lot of votes for this episode.
We did. And what was our rating?
It was 6.5. That's the overall rating. When I bring that up, people can vote just like we do. I usually go 0. And they cannot go 0. The lowest they can go is 1.
Yeah.
So take that into account that 6.5 is super high.
Super high. Yes. Yeah. All right. Then our next episode, starting our month of haunted airports.
Yes.
We talked about Honolulu Airport in Hawaii with Anthony.
Yeah.
This was 45%.
Anthony didn't convince people, I guess.
55. Yeah, he was a bit skeptical.
He was, yeah.
I mean, this is a person who, if you go back to our 5-year anniversary episode, he has seen Resurrection Mary.
Spoiler alert.
Sorry, but you should go listen to it if you haven't. But no, he wasn't as convinced with this one.
And the overall rating for that one, 3.8.
All right. Then we talked about O'Hare Airport.
Yes, we did.
With our friend Scott Larson.
And we also discussed a little bit of it when we talked to Jack Chavez when we're in Denver Airport episode.
Yes.
About the Mothman part of it, which he did not believe in. So
No. Which
Okay.
if he doesn't believe it, then I don't believe it. That's what I'll say about that. So yes for this one was 52%
Ooh.
and no 48%. So pretty close.
You squeaked by on that one.
Squeaked by.
Yeah. The overall rating 4.3 on that one.
Yes. All right. Then next we talked about Fresno Airport, or sorry, Chandler Airport in Fresno, California.
Can it be any more in Fresno?
Well, what I loved, I still am thinking about this episode because of the wing walkers.
Yes.
If you want to learn about wing walkers, go
Yeah.
listen to that
Yeah, we
episode.
talked-
This
we
one
talked
was super fun.
We talked a really long time about wing walkers.
We did, and we had your
why it was bad.
yes, and terrifying. And this is the episode we had a skeptic on.
We did.
Our favorite
Besides
skeptic,
me.
Nick.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
No. Okay. Sure.
What? Yeah. So
yes was 33%
Oh.
and no was 67.
didn't get as many votes for this one too. So
No.
overall rating 3.2. I enjoyed this episode because I had never heard of this airport, and I don't think many people have. Although we did get a interesting comment on YouTube. So if you want to read that, go ahead and go on YouTube and search for our Fresno Airport episode.
Yeah, if you're not following us on YouTube,
Yeah, why not?
please do.
Yeah.
It helps us a lot, helps people find us. And, we don't do a lot of video content. I mean, we post things as audio, but we
have
do
done
occasionally. And there is some really fun stuff that we've put out there from over the years. So
Yeah.
you should definitely check out our
Through the
YouTube.
years.
Yeah. Because we've been around now 6 years.
Wow.
Yep.
So the overall rating, I don't know if I said it,
yeah.
was 3.2. This was our lowest overall rating out of all the airports.
Yeah. Fresno didn't have a lot of
So
evidence.
Nick did his job.
He did his job.
As much as that pains me to say that.
I could not withstand the two skeptics. All right. And then our most recent episode that we did was on Denver Airport.
Yes.
Which was super fun. I
was,
really
yeah.
wanted to learn about it. We had
the
lizard
man who knew
people.
everything.
Jack Chavez.
Yeah.
Yeah. He did a great job. And honestly, I feel like the listeners felt as we did.
Yeah.
Which is they evened it out. Like it was honestly, I mean, it was 50-50.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it was like 50.5.
We don't get that.
or
We don't get that
50.2 or
often.
something. Yeah,
No,
like
it was 50-50.
Yeah,
It was-
it was right down the middle.
Yeah. And there were a lot of comments saying that this has got nothing to do with ghosts, though.
I mean, so that's the question, right?
Yeah.
Is it haunted?
Is it haunted was what we said.
Yeah.
So, and I appreciate that you're going for, what the actual question is, because, and listening to the episode itself, you
Yeah.
can find all kinds of other stuff, but we're talking about what we present in the episode.
And we had a comment on this one. Was it on Patreon? I don't remember. There was somebody who lives out there talking about the
Yes, we did.
sunflowers.
Yes. And that is common.
That they have sunflower fields out there. So
and to have
that's-
dead sunflower pictures is not uncommon for them. So.
I still think it's weird, but I get it. I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Thank you
And
for
they
sharing it.
and they did say that if we wanted them to, that they would try to get some pictures for us. So please do.
Yes.
We would love that.
Absolutely. What was our overall rating?
It was a 4. It was a solid in the middle 4, because if you think about it, I was telling this to Rebecca earlier before we hit record, that most believers, usually don't, say a 10 or whatever.
Sure.
They usually will say an 8 or a 7. So 4 is a huge score, because most skeptics will say 1.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it definitely, takes the wind out of the believers then. So
yeah, a little bit. We're a little more open.
yeah. So that is it. I want to thank everyone so much, for coming along on this crazy 6-year ride that we've had. I look forward to giving you guys this next episode, Tiedemann House of Gary.
Oh, it's going to be great.
And the guest is going to be fantastic. But until then, stay ghostly.
Bye.